Well, good morning. We're excited to be back in Polk County. We got a great announcement today. Though I wish the weather was a little bit better, but that's okay. We've in Tallahassee, like we had a weekend of just almost nonstop rain, and we were down in Palm Beach on Saturday night. It's like perfect, and I'm watching the Arnold Palmer tournament in Orlando. It's like perfect, and we were drowning. So hopefully we get over that today for the rest of the state and get back to the Florida sunshine. I'm pleased to be joined here by Alex Kelly, who's our Florida Commerce Secretary. We have President of the Winter Haven Economic Development Council, Bruce Lyon. We have our Mayor, Nathaniel Birdsong. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Mayor Pro Tem Brian Yates, I appreciate you for being here. Then we also have a number of Winter Haven City Commissioners, and I think we've got Polk State College and Polly. Are you guys here? Yeah, so okay, good. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here. So we have really led the nation in a variety of issues, but one of the things we've been ranked #1 in recent years is our economy. If you look at our economy since 2019 when I took office, it's grown by over 30%, which is twice of what the U.S. economy has grown by over that period of time, and we're #1 in economic growth amongst sizable states. I think Idaho may be a little bit more than us, but Idaho has less people than Polk County does, so it's a little bit different comparison when you're talking, and I love Idaho, but it's just not the same as comparing to a mature economy. So we've been able to do that, really drive a lot of growth, a lot of investment. Certainly when COVID was here, I think our approach was much more rational. It drove a lot of people and attracted a lot of people to want to come. There were a lot of people that really weren't able to even operate appropriately in some of these other states. And it's got to the point where they used to have governors would go around the country, hey, come to our state, do this, do that, and everything. We got to the point where a lot of these governors or a lot of these business guys are just calling, hey, we want to let the governor know we want to come to Florida. We look forward, well, what do you need? No, nothing. We're set. We just want to do it. So we've created a lot of, I think, great opportunities. And so I think it's both CNBC and U.S. News World Report have ranked us #1 in economy the last 2 years. Our economy overall, I think when I became governor, I think it was a little over $1 trillion. For our total economy for now, it's about $1.6 trillion. And if we were our own country, I think we'd be like 13th or 14th largest economy in the entire world. We have been the fastest growing state over the last 4 or 5 years. We are #1 in new business formation since 2019. We've had 3.4 million new businesses formed and 370,000 just in the last year. We have done a good job working with the legislature, also utilizing resources like our bond finance agency that does a lot to help reduce Florida's debt. We have a AAA credit rating from all the rating agencies, and for the 50th month in a row, our unemployment rate is lower than the nation's as a whole. We have added jobs in 52 of the last 56 months since May of 2020. And over the year-over-year private sector job growth rate has exceeded the national average for 40 consecutive months. Of course, we have a strong climate. We actually want people to be successful here. We're not trying to regulate people to death and certainly not try to tax people to death. We have one of the lowest state tax burdens in America with no income tax, and we're always looking at ways to do different types of tax relief. We've done many billions of dollars since 2019. Sometimes it'll be things like a tax holiday. I mean, this year we're proposing marine fuel tax holiday to help our boaters and fishermen, Second Amendment tax holiday for those items. And we do back to school, disaster prep. All these different things are what we traditionally do. But we've also done things like permanently eliminate sales tax on baby items. And so parents welcoming a new baby into the world can buy diapers tax-free, can buy all this stuff that's so important tax-free, which can be very expensive. We're looking at ways to continue to do it. When you don't have income tax, that's good, but then it's harder to cut taxes, because if you had an income tax, you just cut the tax rate and say, hey, we cut taxes. So we don't. So we're looking at, okay, those eliminate sales tax on some of those. What else can we do? One of the things we're hoping to see done with the legislature, we're the only state in the country that taxes business rent. And so it's kind of a relic from a bygone era. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It does bring in revenue, but quite frankly, I think that the gains in the economy would be better anyways. So we've reduced the business rent tax a number of times over the last several years, and it's time really to just eliminate it entirely. And I think that would be really good for the economy. I think it would be sound fiscally as well. And we're in a position to do that. We've been running major budget surpluses, certainly over the last 4 years. We've had, at one point, we just had so much money pouring in, not even through taxing people, just because of the growth and everything happening, that we were like, what are we going to do? And so we were able to cut taxes. We did something called Moving Florida Forward, which I'll say a little bit more on in a second. But one of the things we decided to do is, hey, why don't we really work hard to pay down as much state debt as possible? So if you look at, we just celebrated our 180th anniversary as a state a couple weeks ago. If you look from there in the 1840s to the present, you took all the debt that the state of Florida has accumulated since 2019. We've paid off 41% of that, and we're going to do even more. And part of the reason why is we've created an accelerated debt repayment program, which allows our guys to go in. They will find some of these bonds. They usually will buy them for a discount on the open market. They retire the debt, and then we save hundreds of millions of dollars. Actually, we'll end up saving over $1 billion and maybe multiple billions of dollars in interest costs by doing this. And so we're the only state in the country that is doing that as aggressively. And of all the states that have any state debt, we have the lowest per capita state debt in the United States. If you looked at your share of debt for the state of Florida per Florida resident, it'd be about $660. If you compare your share as a U.S. citizen to the federal national debt, it'd be well over $100,000 that you would owe for that $36 trillion debt. So we're proud of doing that. We want to do more, and I think we can get to over 50% of the debt repaid over an 8-year period, which I think would be really fantastic to be able to do. And the thing is part of the reason we're able to do that, we're spending this year less money than we spent last year. You're not seeing that anywhere else where they're actually reducing spending, and we have the lowest footprint of government workers, state workers per capita in the entire United States of America. So you're talking about DOGE, and you're seeing what Elon's doing. Obviously, our federal government is massive, but here in the state, it's a very lean operation, and I think that that's how it should be. So we're proud of that. So, and I just spoke at, I got invited to speak at the New York Economic Club. And the people, governor, you're invited here, you're headed in. You kind of go through. You accept, you don't accept, whatever. Some scheduling conflicts. Sometimes you just don't think it's a good idea. Whatever. There's a lot of different reasons. So I'm like, New York Economic Club. I'm like, well, I probably got to go up there and talk to some of the future Floridians, because a lot of these people are moving down. And I'm not asking them to move, but they're moving. And they're like, no, Governor. They're actually holding the New York Economic Club meetings in Palm Beach now. And so I was like, okay. So we were at the New York Economic Club last week in Palm Beach, and I mean, look, I kind of just said I kind of feel an obligation to speak to you guys because some of you are coming here. I was like, but if you want the long and short of it, why is Florida #1 economy, #1 all this stuff? I was like, part of it is I have a cheat code. All I have to do is watch what California, Illinois, and New York do, and then do precisely the opposite, and it usually works out pretty good. But if you look at the fiscal management, New York State now, they have millions fewer residents than we do in Florida. I mean, New York used to be the most populous state 50 years ago, then California, but New York had always had more people than us until relatively recently. And so we have over 23 million, they have about 19.5 million. And so even with millions more residents, the state of Florida's budget is less than half of the budget of New York State. How does that make sense? And I asked them, would you rather go to the DMV here or there? They all said here. Would you rather, do you like the roads better here? They all said here. And clearly we're ranked #1 in education 2 years in a row. So it just shows you. So we're running a very lean, mean fighting machine, but we have done major investments in things that really matter. And I think what's happened in some of these states that are high tax, high spend, is the government itself has become an interest group. And there's just certain constituencies that have a share of this. And so much of government for them is just paying off people, whether it's unions or other things. And so the money just disappears very, very quickly. And that's why you've seen their budgets escalate so much, but then the results never get any better. And so for us, our view is this is your money. There's certain things that we need as a state. And if there are things that are important, we're going to do it, and we're going to go in big and get it done. So you've seen what we've done with Everglades restoration and improving water quality. Big investments, major initiative, the largest environmental restoration in the country, maybe in the world. But we've gone in really big on that. You look at what we've done on education, not just doing universal school choice, which is important, but we've done billions of dollars for increased teacher salaries. We've had the highest per pupil spending that we've ever had. And not that is the end of it, because there's a lot of places that spend a lot of money and get really bad results. But it does show that we have a commitment. We have a commitment to higher education. And we have funding for universities, but we don't let them raise tuition. So your tuition, $6,300 for a Florida resident for these universities, you can't beat that anywhere else in the United States. So we're proud of being strong on education. We're proud of being strong on environment. We've been strong on law and order. We've done things like, and we've been in Polk County talking about these things in the past with Sheriff Judd. We have a $5,000 recruitment bonus we've been doing for new recruits coming in, and not just for the people fleeing the anti-law enforcement jurisdictions, which there are a lot of those, but young people that want to go in, they're eligible too, because we think it's a noble profession. So we've done a lot on that. But one of the things that we did, and I think people in Central Florida see the urgency of this, is we said, okay, the state is growing, not because I'm asking for it, because I think that the reality is there's positives, but then there's also challenges that come. So you don't see me out there saying, oh, please move to Florida, because I understand that there's things that will cause potential difficulties, including traffic. So we see the traffic, and you could be like Champions Gate. You could just sit there at any time of the day. I-4 going through Polk County, it's not just rush hour. It's like you could be there Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and it's tough. And then we have, and I think Central Florida is one of the areas that probably are the worst, but you got Tampa, Southwest Florida, you have other parts, the Panhandle, all these things. Okay, we have all these infrastructure projects slated, but some of them weren't even scheduled to begin until next decade. And I'm like, well, how is that going to help people? So we took many billions of dollars from our budget surplus. We created a program called Moving Florida Forward, and the goal was to take things that we know need to be done, get it done now, and be able to deliver final products 5, 10, even 15 years ahead of schedule. And so those projects are ongoing. This includes the I-4 project in Polk County, where we have Polk and Osceola, where we're adding the lanes, auxiliary lanes and express lanes in both directions, improving ramp access. I'll tell you, the I-4 Ultimate that was done in Orange County mostly, that did help. I mean, like, there's no question it helps. So this will help too, and we're looking forward to doing that. This whole project just here with what we're doing in the Polk County area, it's going to have billions of dollars of impact. It will reduce congestion. It's going to help supply chain, and it will make it safer to be on the highways. So we've been able to do this, as I said, many, many years ahead of schedule. There's other projects that are auxiliary to the I-4, as you know, here in Polk, Osceola, some of these areas. But this is really, really significant. And this stuff was all slated. People thought it was a good idea to do eventually. But I was just like, we got to do now to mitigate what we're seeing. So I think that that's really, really positive. So our view is we have opportunities to make a difference. We will. Not going to spend your tax dollars lightly, but on those things that are really core to our state doing well, we want to be helpful and we want to go in and be meaningful, which brings us here today. So part of what we're seeing is opportunities in Central Florida to expand shipping capabilities and logistics. And of course, we're here at the Central Florida Integrated Logistics Park, and you see the possibilities and the opportunities here. So we were requested by the city of Winter Haven to help with expanding rail access within the Central Florida Integrated Logistics Park. We looked at it. We believe there's a high return on investment. And so I'm proud to say that today we will be cutting the check for $1.5 million through our Job Growth Grant Fund to the city of Winter Haven to be able to get this done. So this logistics park is close to 1,000 acres of developable land that can accommodate over 8 million square feet of development in close proximity to major thoroughfares and a dedicated CXS rail intermodal facility. The center's utilities can accommodate a wide variety of users, from food and cold storage to manufacturers and statewide logistic companies. These businesses include many businesses who I can't even say now, but you guys will find out, and it'll likely be businesses that that you definitely know about. But the rail extension will help businesses expand operations in this area, and we definitely see the potential for new jobs being created. This is important. Our whole freight rail related activity statewide has over 500,000 jobs that are impacted. It ends up generating $27 billion in labor income, and it produces $112 billion in economic output. So this is important, especially given Florida, here in Central Florida, and our ability to move things around. We want to be able to facilitate that. So this is key distribution point in the center of our state. Yes, CSX rail, major highways, I-4, State Road 60 and 27. These investments, combined with our Moving Florida Forward initiatives, will continue to alleviate checkpoints in the supply chain. And you know, my main focus on the roads is just the workers and the families being able to not be caught in traffic. But it does help with the logistics. It does help with the shipping to be able to get these trucks up and down the highways as well. And then, of course, when you add expansion of rail access, that's a huge, huge thing. So I'm excited to be able to do this. We're going to present the check in a minute. But before I do that, we will hear from Alex and Bruce, and then we'll have the Winter Haven folks come up and accept the check.
Well, Governor, thank you so much. And again, good morning, everybody. Alex Kelly, Secretary of Commerce. Governor, thank you for your leadership in being here today and in this moment, and your focus on ready infrastructure around the state, and in particular, these opportunities to connect great shipping, supply chain opportunities, and the workforce that goes with that as well. You know, one thing that my friend Bruce and I do share in common is we get a lot of questions from companies who are looking at this area, looking at Polk County, and they'll say, where are we going to get our workforce from? And I'll just say, let me introduce you to President Falconetti. Let me introduce you to President Stevenson. They've got it covered. So you've got a couple incredible leaders here. But Governor, again, just to echo some of your points, this was a great partnership opportunity. We worked with Bruce and team actually a couple times over. We've worked together. Previously, we worked on the roadway access project that's going to really bring a lot of the workforce into this area. And this is really an incredible, this project, and once the rail's connected, this project really is an exemplar best practice, I think, example of what you can do in a strategic, targeted way. You know, if you just drive around, you look at the Coca-Cola distribution center, you look at Florida Cans manufacturing facility. You know, future just not too far in the distant future, we'll have Niagara Water just across the street, and you can see that incredible effort to create really a hub for employment. But it's not just a hub for Polk County. Certainly it's going to help Winter Haven. Certainly it's going to help Polk County. But really what you're doing here is going to really serve the statewide intermodals and really benefit the economy as a whole. This is a great example of a local vision, strategic partnership with the governor, with the state, and public-private partnership, really bringing an incredible opportunity together. And it's a great example, too, Governor, of why manufacturing in Florida, you know, you talked about our economy growing by 30%. Since you came in office, manufacturing in Florida has grown by 30%. There's been about 7,000 new manufacturing companies created in Florida over the last 6 years. It's the fastest growth in the nation, and that's an impactful growth, and I think that we're going to continue to see that here in Polk County, in the region, in the state. When you consider what that impact means, manufacturing, when you create 100 manufacturing jobs, you're creating, if for a durable good, you're creating 744 other indirect jobs. For a non-durable good, you're creating 514 other indirect jobs. The amplifying power of that for Winter Haven, for Polk County, for the state is incredible. And so, Bruce, it's been great to partner with you. Governor, thank you again for your leadership and your commitment to really helping communities around the state develop great sites, develop great connections. See so many friends and partners in the room. Look forward to President and President. Look forward to working with you when we're hiring up here. So, and again, just congratulations, and again, thank you, Governor.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody, and Governor DeSantis, Secretary Kelly, sincerely appreciate you being here today. Thank you for joining us for this exciting announcement. This marks an an important milestone for our community. We've for a long time contemplated having direct rail service in this park, but for a variety of reasons over the years it was not possible or not practical. Now with this grant, it suddenly is. And this new rail spur that we're going to bring in, this is going to bring a fresh mode of transportation to this industrial park. It's going to improve freight efficiency statewide by getting trucks off of our roads. What's the last thing I talked to 5 county commissioners about recently, and that is trucks on our roads, right? This helps reduce that, but it helps reduce it statewide. It's really an important project for all of us, and it does create, as the governor said, important jobs for Polk County, important jobs for Winter Haven, but this is now a state asset, not by ownership. It's trapped properties by ownership, but it's a state asset in terms of the impact that it has, and that's really what this grant is all about. I would like to take a minute to thank some of the key players, and I think everyone here and everyone in the room understands that projects like this don't come about overnight, and they don't come about in isolation, right? But first and foremost, Governor DeSantis and Secretary Kelly, previously not quite secretary, worked to designate this as a federal opportunity zone in 2018. That's how long the governor's been at the table. That's how long Secretary Kelly's been at the table to help support this project, to help support the local economy here. Mayor, city commissioners, city management, city staff have been phenomenal and relentless supporters of this project. CSX and Evansville Western Railway, they made the initial investments to build the intermodal terminal here. Polk State College and Dr. Falconetti, who is also the chair of the Winter Haven Economic Development Council at the moment, have been, again, relentless supporters of economic development. They are constantly at the table trying to figure out the best ways to think forward about the workforce, about what we need today, but about what we need 3 and 5 and 10 years out. Some of us have the privilege and obligation of doing that, others don't. Dr. Falconetti and I, we have the privilege of doing that. Jonathan Tratt, Jim Ford, owners of the park, you've breathed new life into this, and we can't thank you enough. Florida Can Manufacturing, which invested over $100 million a couple of years ago, is now owned by Ball Corporation. A good name to have in your park, I believe, right? 100 million in, 150 jobs, and another 40 or 50 acres of expansion capacity on their site. So we're looking for them, hopefully over the coming years, to invest time and time and time again. As the Secretary mentioned, Niagara Water will be located just to the south of this building on 65 acres. They will build 1.2 million square feet. All told, this will be the single largest, their investment will be the single largest investment in Polk County history by orders of magnitude. And it will create 400 or more jobs. These are important jobs, and that's a company that serves the entire state, right? They will distribute on State Road 60, out to the Turnpike, down to Miami, over to Fort Myers, wherever it might be. They're not here for Polk County beyond the jobs and the investment. They're here to serve the state of Florida. And that's why I say this is such an important asset to the state. My own staff at the Economic Development Council have to thank you, and the Board of County Commissioners. County Commissioners have offered critical tax exemptions for a number of different projects in this park, and that's enabled these investments to come about. We also know that going forward in the very near future, you're about to make a very smart decision about not raising impact fees. Higher impact fees will preclude investments like this building that we're in. It's a speculative investment. If you increase the impact fees, it slows down the process and you get less investment to occur. I'd love to make an announcement about what's going to happen in this building in the next couple of months. Governor, I'm not allowed to yet. Maybe we'll have you back for that. It will rock your world if you knew what was about to happen here. So thank you all. We appreciate it. Anything that we can do going forward, we will be happy to help you out in our community or any other community. We look forward to an exciting adventure together. Thank you.
Okay. You guys want to do this here? We can just, why don't we do this? Yeah, now let's get in there. You guys want to take it? Well, thanks everybody. I'm excited about this opportunity. As was mentioned, I think you're going to hear more about what this grant will lead to, which I think a lot of people are going to get excited about. I think you could build some additional momentum, which will be really, really good. So we've done a lot in Polk for sure with some of the infrastructure stuff. I mean, there's no question. I mean, what do you have now? Over 800,000 people? What's the population right now? It's over 800, right? I mean, man, like I know people that grew up in Polk, 40, 50 years ago, and but there's challenges that come with that, and I know a lot of people want to see those addressed. That's what we're trying to do with Move Florida Forward, with the logistics and everything about it. So but it's a good time of year to be in Florida. I know we just had the Arnold Palmer Golf Tournament. We got spring training going on. We got the Players Championship in Ponte Vedra. We got the Valspar. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. Just there's a lot to do. I know a lot of people are on spring break now. We've made clear to people. I was down in Miami Beach last week saying, you can come and enjoy, but we are not letting inmates run the asylum. If you think you're going to bring mayhem to our communities, that is not going to happen, and we'll be willing to support any local efforts to make sure that doesn't with our state resources. And it worked very well last year in Miami Beach. I know they're loaded and ready to go to make sure that happens again in a good way. But there's obviously a lot of positive tourism that's happening as well. So I hope people enjoy. It's a good time of year to be in Florida. Okay, with that, do we have any questions back there? Yes. No, it won't. Yeah. Yeah, right across the street. There's no impact to neighborhoods or anything like that. Okay, you guys enjoy. Have a good one. Thanks so much.